Alright, as you can see, I've already got this transmission already removed. It's a 2006 2500 or 3500 1-ton 5.9 diesel, and this is their stock transmission. It's a 48RE. I tried to take a video of us actually taking it apart, but I kind of got sidetracked and didn't end up taking the video. But I'm just going to go through a rundown of what we all had to do to get this transmission out. Alright, first thing we had to do was take off the drive shaft, which is right here, right there. And it was pretty easy. All we had to do was unbolt those 4 bolts right there, and then it just slid right out of the transmission. And after that, we got that unhooked. We drained the transmission fluid and the transmission. And what most people do is they just take the whole pan off and then they drain the fluid from there, but it makes a huge mess. So what I ended up doing was drilling a hole in the bottom of the pan and letting it all drain out, and then I'm going to just put one of them a drain plug back in there. So that eliminated a lot of the mess that we had. Then after I drained all that, I pulled the transmission pan, and we had to pull the transmission pan because we had to get the line that's coming from the transmission right there, as you can see. It's stuck down in your transmission pan, so you got to pull it out, or pull the transmission pan to get this tube out of there. Then after that, we started taking off the differential, 4-wheel drive differential, and it had 6 bolts holding it on, which you can see here, right there, those 6 bolts. And they're all pretty easy to get to, except for the top one and the bottom one, which you kind of had to do some maneuvering to get to those. And then you take the forward drive shaft off, which is just another 4 bolts like the previous drive shaft, and you just pull that off. And there's I think there's a couple plug-ins, like a vent hose and another electrical plug-in. I don't know what that was, but plug that off. And you got to remove your 4-wheel drive engage bar that hooks to here. And then after that's all done, we took this cross member off. There used to be a cross member there. We took that off because we couldn't fit the transmission between the cross member and the actual frame of the truck, or the actual bed of the truck. So I had to take that off. And it took a little bit of, we had to tap on it a little bit to get it off because it was kind of stuck, I'm sure from rust and whatnot. So we tapped on it a little bit and it came right off, and we pulled it straight off. And then after that, we started on the transmission, trying to get that off. And what you got to do on the transmission is on the bottom of the transmission, you can see right here, there's a little plate that goes over here, and that's a little vent hole, whatever, so you can get to your flywheel. And then there's also, in the bed of your truck, there's a little keyhole that's like up here that you can, what that vent hole does is when you get a screwdriver or something like that, you can rotate the whole flywheel, and that way, and then you can stick your finger in here and fill the bolts that are coming around. Those bolts are that connect the torque converter to your flywheel. And so you just keep moving. There should be 6 bolts that holds your torque converter to your flywheel. And you just keep rotating that flywheel and keep filling them with bolts, and then you unloosen or take off the one bolt at a time, keep rotating, take the other bolt off, keep rotating, take the other bolt off, and that should break the torque converter free. And then there's, I believe, another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, probably 8 bolts hooking the casing to your motor. You have to remove those. There's a bunch of lines that went to it. Had to take off all them lines, electrical lines. There's also some tubes that you had to take off. But you gotta be real careful and not to strip these tubes out, because they're real brittle. We took all those off and jacked it up with just a regular floor jack and took all the weight off and did a little wiggling, and it came out pretty easy. But then torque converter was sitting right in there, but I went ahead and took that out last night and put it on this bucket and let it all drain out, because I have another suncoast transmission kit I'm about to put back in here, and a suncoast converter. And I'm going to drain this out and send this core back to Suncoast, so I can get a $300 core charge back. And I think that was basically about it. Next step I want to do is take this valve body off, which is underneath the transmission pan, and I want to put in my governor solenoids and my shift kit. So I'll be back with another video after that.